Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Cafe Take Two. When the coronavirus pandemic first hit India in March of this year, the Indian government declared a 3-week countrywide lockdown with only a few hours' notice. An estimated 100 million people were forced to return to their towns and villages with little public transit available. A large fraction of these were men, young and old, working in precarious and unregulated employment in cities far from their homes. For many of us who encounter this news story, we became aware for the first time of the massive migrations that normally take place around the world each year, largely of men and boys, traveling far and wide, desperately seeking work in distant lands, and about whom we hear very, very little. In previous episodes of Take Two, we have advocated for men to be viewed as more than simply provider and protector, of being acknowledged as real human beings with loved ones, and like all people, having need for hope, social connections, and self-esteem. And we have similarly pushed for fathers to be viewed as equal and engaged parents, who bring a set of skills, knowledge, and perspectives to their sons and daughters to help them grow into thoughtful, healthy, and happy adults. While a more holistic view of men remains critically important, in this week's episode, we actually want to focus on the role of provider and protector. For within much of the discourse here in Canada, the role of men as provider and protector is often portrayed through a negative gender lens, either accompanied by overly simplified terms such as the wage gap, or by discounting the benefits to those around them that men in these roles can bring. Today, we wish to raise awareness of what is often neglected when we discuss men in their role of provider or protector. These include the positive attributes of giving, of time and effort and hard labor, and also often of sacrifice, of physical and mental health, and opportunities for joy and leisure. Our aim is thus to help provide some balance to the modern-day narratives about men at work.
Today within Canada, many, perhaps most, women seek a mate who is educated, who is invested in a worthwhile career, and who lives independently. The expectation being that these men will dependably provide money, food, shelter, and clothing. And as just discussed, outside Canada, when we hear of human trafficking, we rarely picture the many millions of fathers and sons who travel far from their homes to work in factories or on construction sites for minimal pay and without legal protection. They do this in a determined effort to provide for their loved ones. Yet such men and boys constitute the largest migration in human history, and in many cases are literally dying to work.
Both within Canada and beyond, many, and again perhaps most women, expect their prospective male partners to be driven, assertive, and strong in body and mind.
For almost every battle throughout history, whether against a natural disaster or a political evil, has in large part relied on the physical and psychological strength and sacrifice of men acting as protectors. So we rarely do a double take when we read of a man who willingly heads to a wildfire or who protects his family against an attacker on Main Street or a wolf attack in a national park. And yet we can all too readily dismiss the positive male attributes that lie behind such acts.
Our hope here is for critical thinkers to seek some balance when encountering a story of a provider or a protector, that we might recognize that with this role comes attributes of giving and of sacrifice. And we must also acknowledge the many women and girls who comprise factory workers or who are forced to work in demeaning or dangerous jobs. Because the path toward equality should not be dominated by a negative conflict of competitive victimhood. Nor does a world of true equality necessarily mean a world of identicality. The role of men as providers and protectors appears to some extent embedded within our subconscious. So let us at least be mindful of the whole picture that accompanies this role, and not give in to simplified narratives that limit our compassion toward the humanity of others. Thank you very much.